Welcome into the Week 14 edition of Taking Sides. I'm your host, Al Walsh. Find me on Twitter there at 14a.walsh. Joined alongside by these two fine gentlemen, Pauly Parlays. Find him on Twitter at GameDayFacts. And Anthony Servino at The Real NFL Guru. By the way, I absolutely love Week 14. And it's been quite a while since I had one of those 7-0, 7-1 weeks. I'm calling my shot right now. I'm going undefeated this week. That's how it's going to be, folks. The Tom Brady performance on Monday night inspired me. You know, when you look like you're dead in the water and then you come through against a division rival that has kicked your ass time and time again to win the football game outright. That was just an inspiring performance there from the Elderman. So I'm ready to go this week. Gentlemen, now I know Anthony is en route back home here, but Paul, we'll start with you. How are you feeling about the upcoming week here?
I'm focused is how I would describe it. Where you guys both know that I couldn't shoot a fish in a barrel for a good 8 weeks.
Couldn't hit sand off if you fell off a camel.
There you go.
And water off a boat.
And this past week, I narrowed it down. Like, yes, I picked all the games, but I was very specific about what I'm picking and what games I will actually place a bet on. And lo and behold, I had a really, really nice betting week for the first time in a long time. And I'm like, all right, let's just stick to the process, do the same thing again. So I have 5 games that I will bet on this week. I will not bet on any other games. Like, look, you could push me in one way or another. I've already teased 2 of the games that are not on my list, but that's not what I'm talking about. Like, these are bets that I am going to take straight. We'll put in my parlays and go from there, but I'm not going to touch anything else, no matter who gives me the greatest stat of all time, about this guy or that guy, never losing to this, so on and so forth. So I am focused for week 14, and I have one game that I don't think can lose, but the minute I say that, it will.
Oh man, you had this great this great open, sounded very confident. That's the way you put it. You sounded confident this week, and then not so much.
Do you just want the bet right here and there, like my best bet, like can't lose? Here we go.
Of the week?
Yeah,
let's go.
Steelers.
Oh man, boy,
love the Steelers. Absolutely love them. I bet them
have a good take aside this week.
So the thing with the Steelers is I was eyeing this game on the look-ahead line when Lamar was playing, because the look-ahead line was Steelers +3 or +4. Now I took it at Steelers -1.5. I have it Steelers -2. Now it's up to 2.5. But the Steelers are going to somehow sneak into the playoffs. I will take that defense. I will take an up-and-coming Kenny Pickett against Tyler Huntley, and did I get his name right?
No, you said Taylor, but
But no, and then I said Tyler. It's Tyler, right?
I know you were thinking about those Taylor Swift tickets.
Wait, is it Taylor or Tyler?
Tyler.
It's Tyler Huntley. The things that the Steelers do well are the things that the Ravens have trouble with. So I was on this game, even if Lamar was playing in this game, I would have had at least one Steelers money line ticket at plus money. Instead, I'm sprinkling it all over, and that's 100% my best bet. But the real NFL Guru is here to give us all of his best bets.
Indeed. By the way, so I just want to say I love the Ravens, so we've got ourselves a taking sides.
Well, there's our first take aside.
We've got ourselves a taking sides right off the bat. But it is interesting though, like Lamar Jackson, I mean, I wonder what's going on with him, because I think a lot of, me, for instance, right? I love in fantasy football, I absolutely love Anthony, you're right there. Jeez.
Yeah, my dog.
Oh, gotcha. I was
Anthony, God, you need to be the tiebreaker here, but let Al talk first.
With Lamar Jackson, right? We saw what Aaron Judge did going into the season, looking for that big contract. And I think a lot of us, I think everybody can get behind somebody that bets on themselves, but man, has he shit himself, right? Like, after betting on yourself, you shit yourself. Teams are just absolutely blitzing Lamar Jackson all over the place, and he just cannot figure it out right now. Obviously, who would have thought losing Hollywood Brown would have been the downfall of Lamar Jackson? But
he doesn't have much to work with.
Yeah, Mark Andrews not as healthy as usual. You there?
Yeah, I would say he doesn't have a lot to work with. J.K. Dobbins barely played this season. Gus Edwards missed half a year. The defense has been banged up. There's no Hollywood Brown. They activated Deshaun Jackson. The guy's 30-something years old, and he was bagging groceries a month ago. So he doesn't have a lot to work with. They're still 8-4. Lamar Jackson is not the issue in Baltimore.
It's so funny when we talk about athletes, when we say 37 years old, like he's about to die in a couple of years. I'm like, Jesus, I'm 38 years old. Like I just played goalie the other day in hockey yesterday. I still got it, but it's just crazy that's how now that we're getting older, that's the age that we look at all these different players. All right, Anthony, as the tiebreaker in the Steelers Ravens matchup, who do you like this week?
I'm going to lean the Baltimore Ravens. I think Taylor Huntley is a NFL caliber starting quarterback. We saw Huntley win some games last year. I believe they beat the Green Bay Packers in Green Bay. Huntley 4 total touchdowns, including 2 rushing. I do believe Baltimore won that game last year, but we know he's competent. He's obviously not elite like Lamar Jackson, but he can certainly run the same offense. Very similar skill sets. And I think this is an audition. Lamar Jackson has that contract thing. Baltimore does not want to pay him. This could be an audition where Baltimore, if they buy into Tyler Huntley, they win some games where they can tag and trade Lamar and kind of, use that money to put more talent around Taylor Huntley and not have to pay Lamar Jackson 40, 50 million average per year. So I think this is a big spot for Taylor Huntley.
Yeah, Huntley's had some pretty good starts. He has actually started a game against the Steelers, 16-31,
Yep.
141 yards in that game, 2 interceptions, got sacked 3 times even. But you look at these other games that he's played, that he came in for Lamar in 2021. Had a couple of good starts. He had 3 straight starts where he completed at least 70% of his passes. But you're absolutely right in terms of the talent around him. However, Steelers have actually played some pretty good football here over the last couple of games. Did get 2 consecutive wins on the road. They're at Indianapolis, at the Atlanta Falcons, sort of, 2 games that could have gone either way. But, you look at this rivalry game here with the Steelers. I mean, listen, Baltimore they're still atop the AFC North somehow, but they certainly gotta rack these wins up if they want to have any chance of winning this division and getting at least one home game in the playoffs. And I know your time is limited here, so what other games do you like here?
Well, I want to start with the game tomorrow night. It's not the most exciting game on paper, but, I've been very critical over the Raiders. But in the past 3 games, they've won 3 games in a row. Their offense is firing on all cylinders, and they are showing reasons why McDaniel should be retained going into next season after a disastrous start. They've also covered the spread in their past 3 games. They've covered the spread in 6 out of their past 9 games, and I think they go into the Rams, which is essentially going to be a Las Vegas home game with all those old LA Raiders fans in town. And Vegas isn't that far away, so I think this could be a potential home game for the Raiders. And I think they're going to go take care of business against a Ram team that's really falling apart. I mean, you're desperate enough to sign Baker Mayfield. Things are not going well for this organization.
Yeah, I was going to ask you too. What do a lot was made about maybe Carr isn't the quarterback there for the Raiders in the future. Do you think, like McDaniels you mentioned, do you think he retains his job next season? Paul, what do you think?
I'll hop in on this one.
Yeah. I mean, he's like BFF with Devontae Adams, so.
Right. You're asking me about Carr or McDaniels?
Carr.
It's so tricky. Look, the organization picked him over Tom Brady. So you got to think that guy's in pretty good standing. The team is coming on, and could end up being the 7 seed in their conference. They have the schedule to do it. They have the players to do it. They made the playoffs last season. The defense just isn't what we thought they were, or just isn't playing up to par. Devontae's having a great season. Josh Jacobs wants to get paid. He's leading the league in rushing right now. I don't think that Carr is the problem, but I also think that he has a ceiling of might win you one playoff game. That's where it is. That's like, maybe he'll get you to the conference title game, but he's not winning you a Super Bowl. And I think that we can all agree on that.
Yeah, and of course, you're in probably one of the toughest divisions in football. I know, we had all this this hoopla and all that going into the season because you got, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Russell Wilson also in the division. And, obviously Wilson, having probably the worst season of his NFL career. Justin Herbert, he had some issues earlier this season while the Chargers were having a lot of injuries at the wide receiver position, but he seems to be coming around here too. But yeah, I think the factor with Devontae Adams is definitely something to look at, though. Two guys are obviously great friends. Got to wonder what that does to Adam's psyche if Carr goes. But listen, you got a lot of good quarterbacks coming up in the draft here this year. So it wouldn't shock me to see the Raiders maybe take a flyer on a guy, maybe light a fire up under Carr, get a pretty solid number 2 in there, and make them realize that this job here in the NFL doesn't come by every so often.
Carr goes, they'll bring in Aaron Rodgers.
To see that, maybe even a trade.
Could
Why
you
not?
imagine? I don't know about Anthony.
He must not be the Mexican stuff. Must be.
We have a box that says Anthony Servino.
So what side are you on here with the Thursday night game?
I'm on the Raiders as well. The line is up to 6.5 now, which gives me a bit of trepidation. So what I think I'm going to do is make it the first leg of a teaser and go from there. I have to figure out what I'm going to pair with it, where maybe you guys can help talk me through it. But I will. The only bet I will have tomorrow night is that the Raiders will be the first leg of a teaser, where it's a pick 'em one, where it's just win the game. I just have to figure out what the second and or third leg is going to be.
Yeah, pretty much everything, looking on the up and up for the Raiders. How about, obviously, right, it's no shocker. You're pretty much getting like 80% of the bets and the money on the Raiders spread. However, you're seeing a pretty good chunk of money come in here on the Rams money line. Obviously, you're getting a nice bang for your buck there. However, Frank Amarante pointed it out the other day. Love Frank. What's up, Frank? But Raiders defense over the last couple of games forcing a lot of sacks. Rams pass protection, one of the worst in the NFL. So he mentioned that, if you're looking for a streamer this week in fantasy, going there with the defense, Raiders might not be a bad idea here. Again, Anthony mentioned pretty much a home game here for the Raiders. They got that huge following there in Southern California. So definitely agree with Frank there and think that Raiders probably do some damage here. I'm not too worried about, all this.
Are you guys going to get me to break literally what I just said, and I'm somehow going to bet on the Raiders with the spread tomorrow night?
With the Rams, you mean?
No, I would bet the Raiders.
Or no, with the Raiders.
But that's yeah. I wanted to narrow it down. These 5 games, that's all I'm going to bet. Am I just going to bet on the Raiders because you guys are like, dude, bet on the freaking Raiders?
You might. Rams are hot, or I'm sorry, Raiders are hot right now.
I know they are.
They are they're taking some names and kicking some ass. Granted, some of these wins haven't been against some of the greatest teams, but you play who's on the schedule. And the Rams suck too. So all good. All right, let's get into some real football games. I laughed because the first game that I had on the Sunday slate was the Texans at the Cowboys. Cowboys,
real football.
Yeah. Well, listen, the people in Texas, they love their football. Shout out to the Horn, ATX. What's up, guys? Cowboys 17-point favorites here against the Texans on Sunday. That has to be the biggest favorite of the season, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, this is one of the biggest lines. This is also one of my best bets. I think the Dallas Cowboys come in here and cover. It's a large spread to cover, But since Dak Prescott's has come back, he has played in 6 games. I believe Dallas has only lost one of those games. But the stat is, in 4 of those games, they have won by at least 18 points. And now you get the Texans. Their defense is a little bit banged up. We have their 2 starting wide receivers not practicing. Brandon Cooks, Nico Collins, both not practicing. I don't know what the Texans are going to do to score points. Dallas's defense is opportunistic as they come. Like, the under can hit in this game, and Dallas could still win by 17, 18 points.
Yeah, for sure.
And Davis Mills is back.
Good.
I don't understand the organization. Like, what are you doing? You bench the guy for a week and a half, and you're like, well, Kyle Allen, okay, you're back. I'm so baffled by that. Like, how do you not let the guy go through his growing pains in order to, like, know what he is? I think he's a serviceable backup. I don't think he's a starting quarterback.
No, he's not.
And
they're going to go get one in the draft.
Right, but why turn to Kyle Allen for? It was 1 game, right?
Yeah,
It was just a weird organizational move. It just made no sense.
But it's also a poorly run organization. They're as bad as Washington.
Quietly. So look, we've clearly lost Al, but we could keep going. Why don't you give me until Al comes back? Give me your best bets. I know you wanted to run through them anyway. Well, I'm sure that we'd love to hear them. Or have we already hit on them and we didn't even know it?
Well, one of them was Thursday night. One of them was Dallas. I'm going to give you another best bet. And I'm going to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win outright in San Francisco.
Against Big Cock Brock?
I love that that's his nickname.
We should have set the over-under on how many times I'm going to say it tonight because
3.
it's hysterical.
Saw, the Miami defense, you can move the football on them. Now, Brock Purdy played most of the game, 37 passes. Tampa's defense is getting a little bit healthier. 49ers defense is good. I think this is going to be a slower pace game, dominated by both sides' running backs. But when it's all said and done, Tom Brady, this is a must-win spot. This division is not locked up. I think that he's going to go into San Francisco and walk out with a win. I just do not see Brock Purdy beating Tom Brady. And I get it's a different system, but Todd Bowles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they know how to defend Christian McCaffrey. They played against him way too many times to not know how to defend him.
For sure. Being the resident Buccaneers fan here on the set, it obviously gave me a little concern seeing the 49ers open as 3-point favorites, even with that huge comeback there for the Buccaneers. But I will say, I mean, that was, well, I said it earlier, but that was the type of comeback that rejuvenates a team for the rest of the season. I mean, they looked absolutely dead in the water. If you follow me on Twitter, you know that I tried to put the reverse psychology down on my team. I had George turning away from the TV. I mean, that was just some of the worst football I've ever seen from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then in the last 5 minutes, they finally figure it out. You also got to give some credit to Dennis Allen for some awful coaching decisions there by the Saints in that game, which allowed the Buccaneers to get back in it. But, obviously momentum's on their side. You can kind of look at things from the 49ers perspective, say that they got a little bit of momentum, with Purdy coming into that game on Sunday against the Dolphins. And, listen, when Jimmy Garoppolo goes down, I'm pretty sure every single person on the face of the earth was thinking, oh, well, there goes the Niners season. But, Purdy, who was actually Mr. Irrelevant in last year's draft, comes out and has a nice game. Definitely agree with Anthony on the under in this one. I think, 49ers defense has looked pretty good here the last couple of weeks. Tampa Bay, they realized that, again, season's sort of, begins now for them. So we saw some pretty good spots from them earlier in the season. Tampa Bay had a lot of they had 3 guys injured in the secondary for Monday night, so we're going to see if they're going to be able to come back in this one. Not mistaken, total we got a 37-point total in this one, so I feel like that's speaking a lot of volumes here, and probably going to see a boring football game, but I'm excited to watch.
So
What
I
do
do
you
have
got?
to.
What do you got here, Pauly?
So I do have to say, I told you guys I had 5, and I was tight. Bucks money line is one of my 5. So I am same
All right.
wavelength. I
Yeah,
love
that's
it.
right.
I just same boat. Like Tom Brady, Brock Purdy. I don't care what else the 49ers have. Like I'm gonna take Brady there. Sort of same note. I have a question for you guys. I have the 49ers defense and I have the Patriots defense. Do I play the 49ers defense against the Bucks, or do I take the Patriots Monday night against Arizona?
Oof.
Yeah.
They're both really good defenses, and it's just what's the play?
I would probably go San Francisco. I just think it's going to be a very run controlled tempo game. You're going to get to Brady. I just see Brady getting it done at the end. I think Tampa's defense is also in play this week.
Yeah,
So you're
for sure.
saying you're saying Tampa's going to win like 17-13.
Yeah, it's going to be a very low scoring game.
Yeah, I got to agree. I think you go with San Francisco here as well. Again, too, man, Buccaneers got a lot of injuries on that offensive line. So, not a whole lot of confidence there either. I think you're definitely going to get sacks, right? You're probably not going to get the score run up. But again, too, like the fact that San Francisco is favored in this game gives me a little bit of pause on going all in on the Bucks this week. You would think that, in this matchup of Brady versus Purdy, we'd probably see closer to a pick 'em or somewhere along those lines. But The line has actually gone up, right? Niners opened as 3-point favorites. It's gone up to 3.5. So I don't have all
I
the
don't get it.
confidence in
I
the
just
world,
don't
my
get
boy.
it. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like
That's usually the bets that win.
Right. Look, well, which way? That's what I'm saying is somehow Brock Purdy going to win and cover 3.5? Like what? That makes no logical sense. That can't happen. How?
Well, look at the line last week for the Niners against the Dolphins, right? And by the way, the Niners should thank the NFL schedule makers getting 2 Florida teams having to fly across the country in back-to-back weeks. Way to go. But I think a lot of people were on the Dolphins last week. I know a lot of people were on the Dolphins last week. To cover that, 4-point spread wound up being there at close. So, sort of the same thing. But I mean, listen, Niners do have one of the best rosters in football. So,
what are your guys' thoughts on the
with
Niners Super Bowl
big one.
futures now? With Purdy versus Garoppolo might come back versus are you not giving them a chance either way?
I'm not.
What Anko here?
This is an unproven quarterback, and what do you do if Brock Purdy looks good? You're going to turn back to Jimmy Garoppolo. I think this is going to be a controversy, and when there's a controversy, it usually doesn't end well.
I love a good controversy.
Well, also, here's the other thing about this weekend's game. Whoever wins this game is in the driver's seat for the 3 seed in the NFC. That's who's going to play the Giant. Look, Giants are going to make the playoffs. Yay, congratulations. But would you rather play the New York Giants? Would you rather play the New York Giants at home as the 3 seed or be at home as the 4 and you're going to get to play the Dallas Cowboys visiting you? The loser of this game is going to get the Cowboys instead of getting the Giants, which is just like no comparison. This game is so huge. That's the other reason that I love Tom Brady. Like, he's going to win this game. They're going to get the 3 seed.
I was actually looking. So last night, I rarely watch SportsCenter anymore, but caught the SVP edition, and they were showing the FPI stats for the Niners. They only have like one game where they're above 50% to win. So that is pretty interesting. Niners 8-4, Bucks 7-6. Obviously, not 7-6, 6-6. I'm sorry. So, yeah, I don't know if that would be the driver's seat for the game, but I mean, certainly would put Tampa Bay in a better position if they wind up, ending up with the same record there, having the tiebreaker head to head. But yeah, I mean, that is a great point too. You probably don't want to face Dallas there in the first round. Although Tampa Bay has won their last 2 matchups against Dallas. So,
But just think about that. If we're really looking at the NFC, the best 2 teams are both in the NFC East. Is that an outlandish statement?
No, absolutely. I absolutely agree.
yeah.
So one of those teams does not get a home game in the first round, which is just wrong. It's wrong.
So, as a perfect segue, do not sleep on those Detroit Lions because they are there as the 9th seed right now, 5-7. I guess what, game and a half. Well, it would technically be 2.5 back of Washington because Washington beat them head to head. But in probably the most intriguing line of the week, Lions are now 2.5-point favorites at some spots here against the Minnesota Vikings. You look at the money allocation in this one, Vikings taking in a little more than 50% of the bets. However, getting 95% of the money. I mean, this was a line that you saw at the open. Vikings were a 1-point favorite. Now they're 2.5-point underdogs. I mean, that just seemed too good to be true there at the beginning. But I hopped on the Lions early. Basically went with the money line earlier in the week. Got a small plus 110 there for them just to win outright. So, wondering, are you guys biting the bait here on the Vikings, or are you rolling with the Lions as well?
My answer is yes and no.
Oh,
I'm on the Vikings, but only as a teaser leg. So I have the Vikings plus 9.5. I think it's going to be, there will be so many points scored in this game. What's the over under?
50. There's a couple books with,
Right.
What are we at here?
It's
51.5,
It's
52.5.
it's some crazy big number. There's just going to be a lot of points scored here. So the way that I'm looking at this is I think the Vikings can win the game. I think the Lions can win the game, but I don't think that it's going to be an utter blowout. So on that note, I took the team that is the underdog. I added 6 points. Give me the Vikings plus 9.5.
So, interesting note here. When these two teams faced off, I believe it was week 4, the Lions pretty much had the lead the entire game. And then, Cousins and the Vikings came back there at the end to salvage out and squeak the victory in that one. They were actually 6-point favorites in that game. Wound up winning by 4. Interesting note here, as I look at the two teams, the last 4 Lions-Vikings matchup have been decided by 4 points or fewer. And that was the last matchup, when they faced each other this season. The 3 matchups before that were decided by 2 points, which is insane. So again, anytime you see an 11-2 team as an underdog against a 5-7 team or whatever, it just spells disaster. But yeah, I'm all over the Lions. Already got it locked in. So let's go, Dan Campbell and the boys.
Hey, we can both clearly win this one. Lions by 3, Lions by 7, Lions by 9. We're good.
Indeed, man. Lions are hot right now, coming up the rear in that NFC playoff picture. Watch out.
They're
folks.
so what are they?
All
They're
right.
4-7 or 5. Like the Lions are like that. The Steelers are like that. The Browns are like that. Like there are these teams that are under 500 now and are going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, you talk about that AFC picture there. Patriots, what are they? Let's see. All right, so the Jets actually have the last seed there at 7-5. Tough game in Buffalo, which we can talk about next. That's another game that I really like this week. But yeah, Browns only 2 games back of the Jets, although Jets did win the head-to-head matchup there. So of course that could spoil some things there at the end. But all right, let's get into Jets at Bills. We're doing a phenomenal job of the segues here. Bills 9-point favorites at home against the Jets, even though Jets beat the Bills outright a couple weeks ago in that wild matchup there. I'm on the Bills this week at +9. And one of the interesting things that I looked at, the Mike White home road splits in this one. He started 3 games at MetLife in his career, 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, but 971 passing yards, and that's in 3 games. On the road, 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and the Devils' favorite number, 666 passing yards. That comes in 4 games, right? So obviously, he was able to move the ball against the Vikings defense, which we can all agree, pretty overrated. But, the fact that the Bills are 9-point favorites in this one, they got themselves 2 wins in their last 2 games, starting to look a little better here. They didn't cover the spread against the Lions as a massive favorite there on Thanksgiving Day. Wondering where you're going on this one here.
I have 2 teasers, and the Bills are in both of them. I have the Bills -2 and the Bills -2.5. So I'm with you. I think the Bills are going to win the game. I think the Jets defense is good enough that I don't want to. Not 9's one of those weird numbers. Honestly, if it was 10, I'd push it 10.5. I'd push it to 10.5, and I'd take the Jets solely because of their defense. That I think they'll keep the game close enough. My way of getting some action on the Bills, who I believe will win this game, was to include them as a teaser leg. I have them at -2 and -2.5. The Bills are the 1 seed, like out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I wrote a note this week, check Bills futures, but the number didn't move. They're still like plus 325, plus 350, where, do you see value there in the Bills futures at like 3-1 plus 350 at all? If they're the 1 seed, which it looks like they're going to remain.
So our own Max Meyer over there at Caesars. What up, Max? He wrote about it last week on our Caesars blog, but the Kansas City Chiefs actually overtook the Bills for the first time all season. And this was going into last week, but they overtook the Bills as the overall Super Bowl favorite, it's like the consensus Super Bowl favorite. And a lot of that, he does a great job in this article talking to the traders and all that at the sports book. But a lot of the traders aren't as thrilled about, the elbow injury there with Josh Allen. Listen, I don't think it's that much of an issue. I mean, I think he's been throwing the ball fine here last couple of weeks. I think there was probably more pessimism there now, before we really saw him in action. But I think that, listen, this is a game that you probably just grind it out against the Jets. I don't think, Bills are necessarily going to blow them out, but I definitely think that they're going to be on the right side. I think, obviously, if I think they're going to win, they're going to get a double-digit win. But a 10-point win, probably like a 27-17 game sounds kind of about right when we talk about this here. Again, as mentioned with Mike White not having these great games here on the road, Buffalo definitely a very tough place to go into and win a football game. But, overall, I'm pretty big on the Bills here. And listen, I think the Bills too, they had that mid-season hiccup there. They're finally starting to come around and show who they truly are.
Yeah, I'm with you on this. I really like the Bills.
I think we're going to have a little bit of weather in the mix here for this game here. Let me check this out. So Sunday, oh man, might have a little rain and snow mixture there. Probably like right around kickoff. You're probably looking about 75%. All the rain and the snow starts coming down at 7. We'll call it the early morning of Sunday, but looks like it's going to go well into the night there. So, take that for whatever you will on this one. All right. That's probably good for the under in that regard, but sounds good. Let's keep it in the New York area because another game that I love this week, Eagles at the Giants. Eagles are 7-point favorites in this one. Looking at a total sitting in that 45 range. Giants taking 60% of the bets and 90% of the money in this one. This one caught my eye right off the bat, looking where all the money was going. I'm rolling with the G-men in this one. I think we're going to have ourselves a nice, ugly NFC East football game. I have been burned in years past, by the way, going with the Giants over the Eagles, but they owe me one.
anytime I bet on the Giants, they lose. So I'm going to opt out. I'm going to opt out of this one.
You're gonna pay for a close game here. Nice.
I don't know. Like initially, my thought was Eagles -7, and sure, I'm okay with that. Like if it's a flat 7, I guess I'll take the Giants. But like if it's 6.5, I take the Eagles. It's like that half a point matters. I just don't think the Giants can score enough to keep up with the Eagles. That's the problem.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably going to be a run the football game kind of day. Looking at you're probably going to have like a little bit of wind there in the forecast. You know that when you get to MetLife at this time of the year, it's kind of a disaster. Looking at the forecast here for Sunday, right around kickoff, about 70% chance of rain that goes well into the night. So, take it for whatever you will, but probably going to be just an absolute gross slop fest there in the rain. And again, I think that plays well into the spread here. If teams are going to be running the football, the Eagles don't really have the chance to run it up there against the Giants unless they're breaking off a bunch of running plays. But give me the under in this game for sure. Let's take that at 45.5. Get that on DraftKings and FanDuel right now, 45.5. That's the key number because there are a lot of 44.5s out there. But yeah, like as I mentioned, man, just NFC East slugfest. You got two teams playing for something big here. Giants, obviously, their playoff lives. Eagles still got the one game. Well, I keep doing this. When am I going to learn? Eagles have the 1-game lead plus the head-to-head tiebreaker there against the Vikings. So, obviously a win could put them in much better shape going forward. But I do like the Giants to cover at home here. Pretty big spread there for a road favorite.
Yeah, I think flat 7, you take the Giants. Anything else, I'm with the Eagles. I think the Eagles win the game. It's just a question of how much do they win by.
Indeed. You and I talked about this game a little bit today, actually. Cleveland Browns at the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals, mostly 6.5. You really like the best of Browns. However, Browns 5-0 against the Bengals in their last 5 games. I mentioned it to you, which you didn't think mattered, but I just like the stat anyway. 8-1 against the Bengals in their last 9 games. Now, looking at the markets here, pretty interesting because you got about 75% of the bets on the Bengals, who are scorching hot right now at the moment. But you do have 60% of the money coming in on the Browns. It makes sense, right? Deshaun Watson did not look good against the Texans last week. They were still able to get that win quite comfortably, I guess you can say. But again, these two rivals, man, they hate each other. This is another big spread here that can certainly be capitalized on by the Browns. And don't forget too, man, Browns absolutely clobbered the Bengals' heads in on Monday Night Football earlier this year. I like the Browns in this one, but I'd like to take it up to 7.
This is one of the 5 that I love this week. I keyed Browns +6, and I actually wrote an arrow and it says +7.
All right.
So we're literally same wavelength. I'm going to use the Browns as a teaser leg. I think that makes a lot of sense this week because I think it's going to be a close game. The only thing that worries me is if somehow the Bengals come out and take an early lead, the Browns can't come back. It just – I don't think – look, Deshaun Watson, maybe he'll figure it out real fast, but he hasn't played a football game in 2 years. He looked horrible last week. He's not in sync with his receivers. Njoku will be back. So having Njoku, Amari Cooper, and Donovan Peoples-Jones, real nice. 100%.
When you're playing such shitty quarterback or you haven't played a football game in 2 years or whatever it was, it is nice to have the running back complement of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt at your disposal.
120%. It's just I worry Bengals win the toss. If Bengals take the ball, go up 10-0 or 14-0. And in that game script, I don't see the Browns having a chance. Anything else, I love the Browns. So maybe this is a game that I even consider playing live. But I think what I'm going to end up doing is I took the Browns money line also, full disclosure. I have Browns Bucks underdog money line parlay. 20 to win 145. So hell yeah, let's go. But I'm trying to think of, likely scenarios. Does it make sense to tease it up to 12? Does that do anything? I don't know. I feel like if the Browns make it a game,
Yeah.
6 is good enough.
Yeah, and the fact that they've had success against this Bengals team, in recent, and you mentioned it when we talked earlier today, the 5 wins have all come against Zach Taylor.
Well, okay, so one was week 17 of last season when Burrow didn't play, so I also don't count that one.
Okay, all right.
But they are 4-0 against Joe Burrow, which is crazy.
Yeah. Still great numbers there. Absolutely.
Agreed. Like what does Stefanski know that we don't know? How is he the guy that can beat Joe Cool, but nobody else can?
So I didn't go out last Sunday, so I didn't have my usual. That hockey takes a toll on the body, man. Like, I'm absolutely dead on those Sundays when I play. But wondering if you watched enough of that game. Did you see anything out of Watson? Maybe some positives going forward, anything like that?
No, he looked horrible. Like, he should be thankful.
It was nice that he got a little scrimmage in.
He should be thankful that Nick Chubb is great.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good to know.
He looked uncomfortable. He didn't. You know what I'm saying? A lot of this game comes down to the Browns' defense. To be totally honest, like, can Clowney and Myles Garrett get to Joe Burrow? If they can, the Browns can win this game. Like, there are scenarios where the Browns can win, which is why I threw it in my underdog parlay, which I totally should have included the Vikings. I don't know why I didn't, but 2 teams is just fine.
Interesting to know, we've had plenty of points in a lot of these games. In four of those last 5 matchups, you had the teams score at least. The week 17 or 18, whatever, last season that you're talking about, that was the one misnomer. It was a 20-16 game. So certainly worth looking into the total on this one, which is set at 47. Pretty much all of the let's call it that 75% of the bets, 95% of the money is actually on the under in this one. So, going the other way here. And listen, I think a lot of that has to do with Deshaun Watson, kind of getting back into the groove. But I don't know. I think, in terms of what the markets are saying, maybe we have a nice spring up Watson performance this week.
Can I tell you something that I don't think you know? I just went to pull up.
You're gonna tell me anyway, so go ahead.
Yeah. I just went to pull up the pod on Twitter.
Uh-huh.
Do you know that Minty Betts from Yahoo, she follows you?
Yeah.
I saw that because it came up. Like, I'm like, oh, I see Frank. Like, it's in your like highlighted, like, these people follow you. That's a great follow, man.
Yeah, man. We've talked some hockey in the past.
Oh, nice. She loves the Vegas hockey team.
Yeah.
I tried to. So before she was like famous, her and I would message back and forth on Twitter, and I was out there for a bachelor party right before COVID started, and we were at a sports book, and she was going to come meet us, and like it was like she got famous like a month before. And then I got ghosted.
Yeah. Minty, you gotta hit my boy Paul up.
No, honestly, like I said, I'm like, hey, it's all good. We're here. I was so hungover. We went to Tao for dinner, and then we saw Steve Aoki as a DJ, like popping bottles. Like, what are we doing? And then the next day we're at the sports book, and I'm like, I'm just dying. And like the guys are like, oh, is that famous sports betting girl coming? And I'm like, no, she canceled. Like I was so disappointed. Because honestly, like,
come on,
like,
you don't want to go hang out with a bunch of drunk guys at a bachelor
she
party?
Like, she could have just said, no, bro, I'm not gonna come. But whatever, it's all good.
Got to shout out the Philly Godfather as well today. He's such a great guy. He always does this probably like once, a week, once every 2 weeks. He'll just put out like, some great sports betting follows. but I retweeted it today. So make sure you go follow a lot of the guys on that list. A lot of these guys give out some free plays, which a lot of touts really do not do. And they're pretty damn good. Like I really don't follow college basketball at all. I just think it's boring as hell to watch offenses try to beat the 2-3 zone. But a lot of these guys, they know their shit. So you go to 14a.walsh, you'll see the tweet retweeted on there. Make sure you go follow some of those guys, including PG himself, one of the best in the business, if not the best. All right, we got through all the 1 o'clock games except one of my favorite bets of the week, Jaguars at the Tennessee Titans. Now, I saw this line right off the bat, and I'm saying to myself, why the hell are the Titans only 3.5-point favorites against the Jaguars? It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever.
However,
that's when the antenna starts going up, folks. Yeah, I'm going with the Jaguars this week. It does not make any rhyme or reason why you would, right? Because this just seems like such an awful matchup for them going up against Derrick Henry. However, Jaguars have they've played well in some big spots this season. They just had that win against the Ravens a couple weeks ago. They had a huge win in Los Angeles against the Chargers. They played well against the Chiefs. I know that they didn't cover in that one, but again, it seems like they rise up to the occasion against some of these bigger teams. Let's not forget Doug Peterson, their coach, doing a pretty good job with that team there. But again, this line just spoke to me from the heavens above, and I would like to go money line. I'm probably not there yet. Right now, without a doubt, I'm on the Jags at +4. This is going to be a Titans 3-point win. I'm pretty sure of it, but I'm itching pretty big to get that money line in there for the Jags because my rule of 200, right? And the Titans, the best you could do right now on the Titans right now is -190 on the money line, and the Jags are and the best price right now that you can get on the Jaguars is +164, and that is at.
So what are you telling me to do here? Because when I first wrote down my games this week, the Titans -3 was like my second favorite bet, and now I'm not betting it. I'm literally not betting it. I wrote them in order of when you're ranking most confident, least confident. That was the second. Initially, yes, they're going to kill the Jags, -3, and now I have it in no bets.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think your average sports bettor is a lot smarter, than from the days of newspapers. But just looking at the splits here, right? About 63% of the bets on the Titans money line. I'm sorry, on the Titans spread, and then you got 70% of the money on the Jaguars here on their spread. So again, I'm obviously not the only one thinking that something crazy is going on here, but Jesus, man. I feel like this just spoke to me all over the joint. I'm big on the markets and going, the opposite way that the public's going. But there's a lot of games this week where we've got
up to -4 at this point.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying when I look at Action Network, I'm just looking at the best lines that you could do. But Titans opened at 3.5. So that just spoke massive volumes to me there. So yeah, going with the Doug Petersons out there in Duval. And also too, totals at 41. I mean, that is gross. I'm actually really thinking about this now because I have in my fantasy league where I'm holding on to first place right now, get a bye week for the playoffs, but Lamar Jackson's hurt. And I've got Justin Fields on a bye week. So I actually picked up Ryan Tannehill. And now, obviously I knew I was going with the Jags, all week once I saw that line. But when you're going through the waiver wire, you look at, the matchups or whatever. And you're like, oh, yeah, going against the Jaguars, easy peasy. But I got to rethink that one. And I actually spent $7 in fab money for that one. So that might be $7 right down the drain.
I don't know. I feel like this is one of those, obviously the Titans win. oh, let's overthink it and take the Jaguars, and then obviously the Titans win.
Yeah, I could see this being a survivor pool killer for all. I mean, obviously, listen, if
you're still alive in Survivor,
yeah,
good for
congratulations.
you.
I'm talking about for the buyback.
I've been
third
done in Survivor since like week 8. I think
week
that's
3.
when it sadly ended for me.
Week 3 for me, man. But yeah, it's crazy, dude. Survivor pools are like wild nowadays. I remember
you
days.
The one I was in. Like I was in a $1 million pool. It was crazy.
Oh man, love it. Tis the NFL though. Tis the NFL. All right, let's move it up to the 4:00 slate. Let's start. Let's see. We talked about Bucks 49ers. We don't have to rehash on that.
I gotta tell you, dude. I love the 4:00 slate. I love all 3 games.
Really?
Love all of them.
Well, you lead us in then, because
So we already talked about we all like the Bucks. We all like the Bucks. We like the Bucks plus the points. We like the Bucks money line. I love the Seahawks are one of my final 5. Not final 5 because the final game is I love the Patriots on Monday night. So don't tell. Seahawks minus. I see 3.5. I'm likely to push it to 3. But this line doesn't make any sense to me. Tell me why Seattle at home is only a 3.5-point favorite against the Carolina Panthers. Like, what are your thoughts? I think I made a futures bet on the Seahawks today. Thank you, Anthony, because Anthony helped me out with that. Plus 320 to win that division. Where if the 49ers lose to the Bucks and Seattle wins, Seattle has such a clean path to win that division that the Seattle's winning this game. So, but how do we play this? Do we play it money line? Do we play it to cover the spread? What do you think? Or if you're going to tell me you like the Panthers, I'm just going to turn my camera off and leave.
So, right, let's look at the markets here first. In terms of the bets, Seattle taking in 53%, slightly over 50-50. However, 88% of the money is coming in on the Panthers. But here's the reason. Don't turn the camera off just yet. Seattle's running back situation is an absolute shambles. Kenneth Walker goes down last week, probably not going to play this week. And then you look at the rest of their
Travis Homer's going to play,
if you will, right? Well, I mean, he had the illness. It looks like he's going to play. You also had DJ Dallas. You know, he might not even.
I got
play.
a DJ Dallas silver rookie card if you want it.
There's just so many injuries going on with them right now. So I feel like that puts Seattle in a one-dimensional type of offense. And, you know, listen, for all the shit that we talk about Carolina on a weekly basis, they got a pretty decent defense. They've done a good job holding some pretty good quarterbacks to some absolutely abysmal fantasy totals. So I think that they can certainly keep this game close, especially if we're going to look at from the faction of, you know, yes, we're going to see a very pass-heavy Seattle offense in this one. So I guess that's where I'm at. Do I have the balls to take the Panthers up in Seattle? I don't know. We'll see how the 1:00 slate goes on Sunday. But I mean, this could be a trouble spot here.
The way my Sundays have been going, the 1:00 slate is crazy for me. I got to kind of focus. I have been killing the 4:00 slate. Like it could be that it's less games. It could be complete and utter nonsense, but every week I get the 4:00 slate right. Thank goodness, because if I lose in the 1:00, obviously you know how I am. I'll bet the 4:00, and it's been saving me, honestly. Like, and then I look this week and I'm like, I love all 3 games. So seemingly we're on the same side there. And then Chiefs -9 against the Broncos. The Broncos can't score. The Chiefs are one of the best 3 teams in football. Give me the Chiefs minus the points every time. Where are you at?
All right. So let me take you to the market real quick. Interesting. Chiefs -9, taking in 72% of the bets. Broncos +9.5, taking in 63% of the money. But I can't get behind this Broncos team at any point, right? Like, they hate Russell Wilson. Only half the team showed up to his birthday party, which includes one of the greatest R&B singers of our time, Ciara. And, who knows? Missy Elliott might have been there, but the fact that half the team missed out on that shows how much they hate Russell Wilson.
You realize who Russell
Wilson
You realize who Russell Wilson is, right?
I do.
No,
the worst chef in the world.
You've seen the movie Draft Day?
I have. Oh, that Bo Callahan?
He's Bo Callahan.
Did you know that when the first radio show I ever did, I actually had the directors and producers of Draft Day on our show?
No way. That's awesome.
Talk about the movie. Yeah, it was like a couple days before the movie came out. So
I love all these Kevin Costner vehicles. He's so good, honestly. Everybody's trying to get me into Yellowstone. I don't have Peacock, so I haven't watched. Do I have Peacock and I don't know it? I think isn't that what it's on?
Yeah. No. I'm sorry. Paramount Plus, I believe.
Which I have real cable. Does that mean I have it and I don't know it?
You have the reruns on the Paramount channel.
Okay, so maybe I could. I've told I need to start from the beginning, and they're on season 5, so it's not easy to catch up on. But I look. There's so many good Kevin Costner sports movies. Draft Day is underrated. R.I.P. The Black Panther. I'm forgetting his name. My God.
Oh, gee.
He played.
I know this.
He played Vontae Mack. I'm thinking King T'Challa. I know all of his movie names, but I can't remember his real name. But he was amazing in that movie. Arian Foster was in that movie. Come on.
Chadwick Boseman. Yeah.
Terry Crews played his dad or Arian Foster's dad?
Oh my God. No, Arian Foster's dad was Terry Crews.
Right. No, okay, the trades that they made, that's not how it works. But the movie, the premise, Jennifer Garner was great. There's enough in that movie that I'm more than happy to watch it multiple times.
Yeah. All right. By the way, I just picked up Travis Homer.
Smart man.
I'm such a jerk.
How is he just available? You just have free agency? You don't have waivers?
No. I mean, I don't know, man. It's also at the point of the season too, where there's a couple teams out of it. I'm mathematically out of my work league, so I'm not going hard after free agents. It's ethically not the right thing.
So I have one league I'm eliminated. I'm not making that move.
Mm-hmm.
But the expert league I'm in, I have to outscore. I have to win this weekend. I'm in the playoffs, but I want the points for the seeding. But also the way it works is there are no moves after this week. So if I pick up Travis Homer, he's on my roster for the rest of the season. It's tricky.
I got a spicy one here. I can't even, God damn it. I can't even, Derek Carr's on my waiver wire, but he doesn't become available until the 10th.
That doesn't make sense.
Which does me no good to pick him up for this week.
All right, buddy. So last 2 games. The Sunday night football game, I don't have an opinion yet because my entire read is based on if Mike Williams plays. But what are your thoughts? I guess I like the Chargers because I'm saying it's based on Mike Williams. I like the Chargers plus 3.5. What do you think on Sunday night football?
Man, I really didn't have an opinion on this. So I do like the over. I think that we're going to see plenty of points in this one. That is being indicated in the betting markets by a lot of other folks. A lot of bets, a lot of money, about 75, 80% both ways heading towards the bets and the money of the over. Man, I would probably have to lean Dolphins in this one, despite most people going that way. Again, now I got to go with my rule of 3, but if you're not a favorite at home, or at least below a 3-point underdog, that usually spells trouble. I know, Miami did not look good against San Francisco. A couple turnovers there. Tua got absolutely rocked in that game. I think it was the final interception that he threw. But yeah, I probably got to go with the Dolphins, even though it pains me to see the Chargers just kind of completely imploding here now.
I also think the coaching matters here. Brandon Staley, you've seen him blow enough leads with really talented teams, and I think that Mike McDaniel is the next great coach.
Yeah, I imagine too the Dolphins probably stayed out on the West Coast. They just had that game in San Francisco.
Right, but that still
I
messes with
imagine
you
they would have
not,
stayed out there.
not being in your home facility. It still messes with you. That's why if it's 3.5, I do like the Chargers because I think it's going to be a close game. Both these teams can score points. Like, tell me why the Chargers can't lose by 3.
It's possible. I'm indifferent on the one, so you could be the muscle for this one.
No, I have no muscle. I just told you I'm not touching it.
Sorry, I was looking at the timer. We're at exactly an hour now.
And I do have to tell you something. So
yeah.
you know I record on I have the last MacBook Pro that still has a CD player. I have not been plugged in for the show. I'm at 9%.
Interesting.
So this is going to be perfect.
So we got to hustle it up. All right, Monday Night Football, Patriots at the Cardinals. Couple 1.5s out there, a couple 2.5s out there for the Patriots. They're taking a lot of the bets and the money here on both the spread and the money line in this one. Looking at the total, you're looking at 44, 4.5 at some books. 50-50 on the bets, about 2/3 of the money coming in on the over in this one. Man, Patriots definitely need a win. They certainly do. And they played on Thursday night last week, so that means that the hoodie got a lot more time to prepare for Kyler Murray. Probably go with the Patriots in this one. How you feeling?
I love the Patriots. It's the final leg of my 5 favorite bets of the week. I took the Patriots money line early in the week when the spread was 1. That was just the way to do it. I took the Steelers -2.5, Seahawks -2.5 with the Patriots. That was my early week parlay, 35 to win $1.50. So I love the Patriots. I'll see how the week goes. This is one of the games that I'm supposed to play straight, but we'll see how Sunday goes to see how I play my Monday.
All right. I dig that as well. I think I hope nobody from my league is listening. I think maybe Brock Purdy might be the quarterback I go with this week.
Please don't.
Well, I mean, if you saw the other options, I mean, Russell Wilson.
Who is your quarterback right now?
Well, I told you I got Lamar Jackson, who's probably going to be hurt, and then Justin Fields is on a bye week. So I just dropped Tannehill in order to go get Homer because I've got
Tannehill's a good play this week. I don't like that.
No. Well, I told you I like the Jags this week, and then you got the low total. So, I think it's not going to be a great week for him. But
okay, so you need I'm just trying to think bottom of the barrel. Where am I looking? Look, you could try Brock Purdy. That's fine.
Russell Wilson's available against the Chiefs.
Do you dare do that, you psycho?
So here's the thing too. It's not like I absolutely need a win this week. 9-4, and the 2 teams behind me are they're 8-5, right? And I hold the points for margin by over 100 points. So as long as guaranteed one of the top 2.
Here's my idea for you. Is Mac Jones available? Obviously you freeze up now. What'd you say?
Yeah, he's available.
Mac Jones, give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. I like that because you're the rest of your team can play the whole week. You have Mac Jones Monday night against a bad Arizona team. He has a floor where you're going to get 15 to 18 from him, and that's probably all you're going to need. If you play Purdy, Purdy could get you 6, which I don't think is what you want.
I was looking at it in 14 fantasy points. Just fine. And again, I really don't need.
If you got rid of Tannehill, which is probably the right choice here, I would take a quarterback that's just going to get me what I need. Mac Jones is exactly that on Monday night.
Yeah, I would agree. All right, Paul, that's going to do it for us. Great show as always. Only 1 or 2 internet issues this week. So, and
they were at the end, so nobody's watching anyway.
That's some massive stuff. weren't watching at the beginning either. That's okay. All right. For me, Paul, rest of the internet, we are gone. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, which you can find right there, bottom of the screen. See you next week. Peace.